Hey, Ken.
Hi.
How's it going?
Going pretty good.
Good. Hey, so we've been getting some questions in lately. There is an individual who is very intelligent out there in the internet world. His name is Cliff High. A lot of people refer to him as Uncle Cliff. And Cliff has made some recommendations. If you got this thing in your arm earlier over the last 2 years.
Or if you caught something.
Okay.
There's, that
if you
causes...
caught like the pandemic flu.
Yes, that's right.
About?
Yeah, if you caught that, there are things that you can do to help mitigate the damage. Now, I'm not a medical doctor, can't get medical advice, but these are things that I do and things that other people do, and you just make your own judgment on things. And Cliff has a lot of doctors he works with, and so they just kind of came up with a protocol that can help you, but this is not medical advice.
So he's recovered from cancer multiple times in his life, and he's very vocal about the things that he's done to support his health. And he's been talking a little bit and has mentioned carbon 60 in terms of one of the things that you can do if you're concerned about having had the pandemic flu and you're still dealing with some issues, or you had this thing in your arm and you are concerned about having that thing in your arm, what you should do. So I want to just get some feedback from you. I want to run through his list of recommendations with you and get your feedback on these supplements, because we haven't talked about these before, but these are all really amazing, very affordable supplements that most people can get access to.
Yes, and some of them, what we probably want to talk about is people have heard about clots and other problems like that. And basically they found that that's actually a medical study. So it's not, this is not
You're not making this up.
Yeah, exactly. They found that NAC and bromelain.
Okay.
Bromelain's an extract of pineapples.
Okay.
And that's been found to dissolve the amyloid plaques that in a medical study, yes.
Clots, okay.
And another thing that seems to help with that is nattokinase and seraptase, which is seraptase is a enzyme from silk moths, and it's used to dissolve like the silk moth cocoon around the things. And so, and nattokinase is a extract from soybeans.
Okay.
And so of fermented soybeans, and they found very good in dissolving things.
Okay, I'm not familiar
protein complexes
with those two supplements. So how do you consume those? Are those in a pill form?
They're just a pill form.
Okay.
You can go down, any health food store has them. They're completely safe and effective.
Okay, so NAC, that would help support cellular repair, and bromelain, what does that do again?
It's basically it dissolves things. It's like they actually use it as a meat tenderizer too.
Okay.
Because it has a habit of dissolving things. A lot of times that there's protein accumulations in our body, it's kind of hard sometimes for our bodies to dissolve. It takes a while so you need a little bit of enzyme help.
Okay.
And all of those enzymes we mentioned are things that help with dissolving these accumulations of proteins and other things. And just to give you that little extra. And there's other things also, the big, one thing they'd say is glutathione. Now, glutathione, because one of the things, C60 is an SOD catalase mimic. Now, glutathione is another major antioxidant in your body. And but the problem with glutathione is it really won't make it past your digestive system. So you do it sublingually, or you go get liposomal glutathione. Quicksilver is a local company here, and they make a good liposomal glutathione.
Okay.
So that's what you want to look for, because what liposomal basically means they put the glutathione and wrap it in fats, and so it'll make it through your hydrochloric acid in your digestive system, so it gets to your small intestines where it can be absorbed and then get to your cells, because that's one of the problems, is getting things through your basically the acid in your stomach without it being destroyed.
So glutathione can help kind of flush out any of those spike proteins?
Well, no, what it does, it takes care of like damages. It's an antioxidant, and if your body's under a lot of assault. Now, the thing about C60 takes care of superoxide and the hydroxyl ion.
Also the damaged cells, and helps repair mitochondria.
Yeah, exactly. That does that. But the thing is, it's not. The glutathione has like a lot of jobs. It's a bunch of jobs, and we'll get on to another thing. And so if you've got like a salt of oxidative radicals that aren't superoxide or the hydroxyl ion, then you're going to need somebody to help with that. And usually glutathione does that, a big part of that, but it can get used up and then you don't have glutathione to do a bunch of jobs that it's supposed to. So just having extra amounts of it, because remember, you're under salt, you need more of these things. And the other thing that's really important is vitamin D and vitamin K. They go together, and maybe a little chromium thrown in because that kind of balances everything out. Because one of the problems, why do people get sick in the wintertime? It's because they're not getting enough vitamin D.
Okay, so
because the sun does. Usually the sun makes vitamin D. But if you're inside all the time and you're not getting regular sunlight, the lights in the house will not do it. You need sunlight, and that converts to vitamin D. But in the wintertime, people are inside, they're wearing clothes, they're not getting the vitamin D, and so you need to basically supplement. When I first started becoming a teacher years ago, the first thing my I don't know what my introductory teacher or my mentor teacher gave me, he handed me a bottle of vitamin D. Because he says basically you're working in a germ factory and you need vitamin D to protect you, against that. And that's why people get sick, because they're not getting enough vitamin D. So you take vitamin D. Now the reason you want vitamin K is because vitamin K helps the body process vitamin D. And so the two go together. And actually you probably want to do a mix. And you can go down to your health food store, and they'll have ones that come together all so you can just take one pill. You don't have to take like 1, 2, 3. Okay. But that's the key. And how much you're going to do depends on you. You could go all the way up to 10,000 units to 3,000 or 4,000, depending on who you are. And basically with any supplementation. As a general rule, I'm not a medical doctor, can't give medical advice. But for myself, because I'm getting older, you see this gray hair here, you really have to, you need to increase the amount, because as you get older, your body doesn't work as well. Like for instance, I did the genetic structure tests on me, and this is probably true for most older people, and I'm not processing my B vitamins as much good. So I have to do extra supplementation on like B12 and B1, which is B1's really important for the processing of the brain. I just have to do those because as I'm getting older, my processing of my B vitamins is going down. So I just have to take more, and that's generally that's something that comes with age. Not everybody gets that, but a lot of people do. So you need to do that, and you have to be. A lot of times people use multivitamins, which is okay. But a lot of the, certain types of vitamins which are fat soluble, like the B vitamins, D, A, they need to be going together
with some
as
oil.
A group. Yeah, with an oil, especially the oil in C60. That's why C60 dissolves. It's all kind of in that group. Whereas other vitamins like vitamin C and some other ones, they're like water soluble. So you kind of want to have your, it's and with a little bit of food too, oils, fats, when you're taking those fat soluble ones, and then water and fruits and vegetables and stuff when you're doing the vitamin C kind of ones, because that's kind of the way nature is. Nature, vitamin C is in fruits, right? And so when you're taking vitamin C, water soluble ones with fruits and stuff, the sugars and the other various substances in the whole fruits, that's another thing you really want. The best thing to have is like if you're taking that side of things, you want to eat whole fruits, because a lot of people do juicing. Problem with juicing, it's super high in sugar. Yeah. So you're getting like a massive sugar dose, whereas when you eat the whole fruit, it's got all kinds of pectins and other substances in there, and that releases the sugars in a balanced way, because that's what our ancestors were designed to eat. We took the fruit off the trees, we didn't juice it. And so that's just something that our bodies are more designed to do.
You also get the benefit from the fiber as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fiber is huge.
If you're just consuming the juice, you're not getting that benefit.
Yeah. And one of the things, there's two benefits from fiber. Now, one of the benefits from fiber is, we're designed to have it in our digestive system. And one benefit is, like a lot of the hormones that you have, your liver will take those hormones, the damaged ones, the used up ones, too much of them, and it binds them with various substances and then flushes them out into the digestive tract. And then those substances are designed to actually combine with fiber, and then they go out the backside, right? If you don't have fiber, they can get reabsorbed in your body, and that will cause like a hormone problem because you're reabsorbing damaged hormones or too much of a hormone, and they're going out. So that's one really important reason for fiber. And then the other important reason for fiber is because a lot of fiber, as the bacteria digest the fiber, they produce hydrogen gas. And hydrogen gas, good fiber, you should have like 11 liters of hydrogen gas a day, which you said, wow, that's not a lot of hydrogen gas that fiber can produce as it breaks down, and that's necessary for really good health and nature. And that's so a lot of times, if you're not getting the right thing, having hydrogen gas water. Or hydrogen gas therapy, that's another important thing that people, they simply don't do it. One of the reasons is because the microbiome we're supposed to be 95% anaerobic bacteria and 5% aerobic bacteria in your gut. And they kind of have it with a healthy gut. It's supposed to be that way. But people don't have healthy guts these days because like a lot of people eat grains. That's why we say organic, because it's got glyphosates in it.
Yeah.
Glyphosates get into your gut. They're going to kill your good bacteria. They're going to mess up the balance of, anaerobic and aerobic bacteria. So you get an unhealthy thing. And then that becomes a problem. But if you take hydrogen gas therapy or hydrogen gas and water, usually that can help balance the chemical ionic balance in the lower gut. And that just helps maintain gut health. It's one of those things you can do. Because, in our modern age, we aren't eating as healthy. We got all these toxins, so we need to do everything we can to give the edge to us. And so that's important. And then there's a couple other things.
So hold on before you go in there. So I want to talk about glyphosate real quick, because if this is the first time that you're hearing about it, what it is, it's actually Roundup. I mean, it's basically it's a weed killer. They sell it at Home Depot. They spray it on all the crops. If you're eating bread or wheat or corn that is not organic, even if you are eating organic, sometimes the spray can travel from crop to crop.
Yeah, and one of the things that is...
And so you got to be really careful about this, because this will it's going to poke holes in your gut. And if you have gut issues, if you have a swollen belly, if you're having really a hard time with your digestion, if sometimes you're constipated and other times you have diarrhea or you're just gassy and you're uncomfortable, likely you've got some gut health issues.
Yeah, and glyphosate is a known carcinogen.
Causes cancer.
It's got a huge thing. And one of the things that's not allowed they don't allow it in China even, they don't allow it in Europe, they don't allow it in Japan, is when you harvest grains, they want them to be uniformly dry, and that's part of the thing. So what they've been doing is they've been spraying glyphosate on like corn.
At the very end of the production cycle.
Wheat and barley and rye and all those grains. They spray it at the end to kill the grain, so it has the same low moisture content when they harvest it. Well, the problem is that glyphosate's now on that grain. They harvest it, they grind it up. So almost all the grain in the United States is contaminated. So like if you want to get pasta, buy your pasta from Italy or Europe, because it doesn't have glyphosate in it. It's a crime that says this is happening, that our government allows glyphosate to be sprayed on grains as an outrageous crime, but it happens because, the nothing but an industry.
We're just gonna let's just stop there. Okay. So, and I also, before you go on to the next thing, I want to go back in time a couple minutes to where we were talking about vitamin D, because it's really important to get tested for vitamin D, because not everybody absorbs vitamin D the same way and the same level. And it's a very cheap, affordable test. You can ask your doctor, what are my vitamin D levels? And the reality is this, there's studies coming out now, Ken, that if you have the proper amount of vitamin D, you're not gonna get sick. Yes. Like this pandemic flu that everyone's like, oh my gosh, I've got to put this thing in my arm in order to avoid it. Well, you know what? What you could do, which is cheaper, easier, and safer, is just make sure your vitamin D levels are appropriate.
Yes, and it's because, you just don't know. Like I have really good processing of vitamin D.
Well, good job.
Because I got reindeer herders in my family. So that's where that came from. And but you don't know, and so getting your vitamin D levels tested and in fact all your blood work. It's just a good thing, and of course we do also recommend it's really good to do your DNA testing. Now it's not just your ancestry, but it's the DNA company or other companies can go in there and they can look at like the various genes that you have, and then they can tell you this is a weakness, this is a strength, and then it allows you to adjust your diet, your health, before problems happen. Because, as the old saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
There's epigenetic testing that you can do too, which is also really important, because the epigenetic testing will inform you what you can change. specifically what you can change. Like the DNA stuff is good to know because you can get in front of it and know what you're predisposed to. And through healthy lifestyle choices, which we talk about all the time, you can basically slow those things down or maybe even in some cases prevent them. But the epigenetic is really cool because you can watch your body reverse age.
Yes.
Based on the choices that you're making, which
Yes,
is
exactly.
so amazing. Yeah. Also on this list of recommendations of things that you can do if you're concerned.
It's something that starts with I.
It starts with the I. There was a lot of bad press around it saying that it was a horse medicine, which is, you know what, the reality is this is a Nobel Prize winning thing
for humans
that's been used across the world and really since
by
the 1970s.
Billions of people and saved hundreds of millions of lives in the world.
Yeah.
That's why they got the Nobel Prize. It's just an amazing substance that basically got rid of parasitic infections and other sorts of things like that.
Rhymes with ivermectin.
Yeah. So anyway.
So you guys can figure that out. But that's something great to get your hands on, and it's wonderful. It's preventative.
And especially if you've gone and done some foreign travel down south, you probably just want to do a round or two of that anyway, because things come home with you.
Well, if you can kill parasites off in advance, you're going to do everything great for your body.
Yes.
So let's talk about vitamin C. That's a super wonderful vitamin.
Yes, and that's because vitamin C is not just, it's an antioxidant, yes, but it's a building block, like vitamin D. It's a building block. Vitamin C, it's used in the Krebs cycle. It's used in so many things. And our bodies aren't designed, we don't make it. You know, your dog actually makes its own vitamin C, so you don't have to worry about getting vitamin C for your dog. But our bodies don't produce vitamin C, and so we need to make sure we get proper supplementation. And quite frankly, most people don't get good supplementation. Another thing also that people don't get in the United States is magnesium. That's just for almost everybody, because the thing is, without magnesium and a little bit of zinc, zinc copper balance there, you can't really process that calcium. And so people be taking all this calcium and, you know, they're still having problems with their bone density. It's because you got to have the magnesium and some of those other little trace minerals there so that you can actually use the calcium. I mean, this is basic biochemistry stuff. And that's, you know, and that's also another reason why a lot of the micro mineral supplements.
Yeah.
There's things like a little bit of chromium, a little vanadium, right? Just in tiny amounts are really important for heart health, for proper glucose processing. But you got to get those little tiny levels of minerals and we don't get it in our modern diet, because one of the problems is our food. We basically been mining our soils the way that they do agriculture. That's why organic foods are important, because if you're buying it from an organic farm, they're kind of cycling in, and so your mineral health of the vegetables you eat that come organic are going to be way higher for those micronutrients. And so you're just not going to get them in standard food. And so you have to supplement if you want to get them.
Yeah. Okay. So the other thing is with magnesium, we talk about the importance of sleep all the time. Magnesium can really help with your sleep. If you're having a hard time sleeping, you're going to want to check that out.
Yeah. It's just a basic building block. It's all of this stuff is, and that's part of it, you know, like C60, it's a great antioxidant. It lifts the oxidative burden the cells are under, but now the cells can work the way that they're supposed to. But if the cells don't have the proper nutrients, the proper inputs, then it's not going to help that much, because you've got to have those nutrients for the cells to use to make, you know, the proteins and various other enzymes and other chemicals that they need to function.
Yeah.
And so it's just, you know, it's one tool in the toolkit of good health, but you got to have all of those things together to really bring good health, along with, of course, exercise, sleep, and a lot of those other things.
Fresh air.
Sunshine, yes, fresh air.
Staying away from toxic people.
Yep, that's all of those things are really important.
You mentioned zinc briefly. It's important that you guys are taking balanced zinc.
Yeah.
Because you need to have the balance between.
There's a balance between copper and zinc.
There we go.
And you need to have that ratio. So often you can buy things a copper zinc ratio just to kind of balance it out. Because if you get too much of one and not enough of the other, then you can have problems. They're kind of counterindicative. So you just bring it up to that level. And another reason for the micro mineral nutrient supplements.
Cool. Any other suggestions in terms of healthy lifestyle choices, supplementation that people can do if they're concerned about, you know, detox, staying healthy, not getting, a flu or a cold this season or anything else that's out there?
Well, it's mouth metal.
Okay, let's talk about that.
That's a real problem. Obviously, I'm not a dentist nor I'm a medical doctor, but, you know, mercury leaks from fillings.
Okay.
And then can be a real problem in your body. Now, fortunately, C60 helps with that. That's a lot of times people have mouth metal. They take C60 the first couple of days, they get a metallic taste in their mouth. That's because in scientific studies, C60 turns mercury hydroxide into mercury oxide, which your body can grab and excrete. And also, C60 will dislodge inorganic mercury. And because you're taking in the milligrams and mercury's in the micrograms, it can prevent its redeposition until the body can grab it and get it out. That's why people get a little metallic taste in their mouth if they got that. And then after a few days, that goes away, and then you start getting the health benefits of C60 kick in. But, getting that stuff out of your mouth and also out of your diet. I mean, a lot of foods these days, especially things like, certain like tuna fish, basically. There's just a lot of mercury in tuna. Swordfish, you just shouldn't eat swordfish at all. The higher that you up on the food chain, the more mercury that's going to accumulate, especially in the environment. And this is even true of freshwater fish, because one of the problems is people burn a lot of coal around the world. Mercury comes up that stack, comes down in the rain, like here in Colorado or basically anywhere else.
Yeah.
There's so much mercury in freshwater fish. Not necessarily farm freshwater fish, but fish right out of unless you live in a calcium-rich environment, like you're in the Ozarks and you've got, limestone, the fish are swimming in limestone rivers, you basically shouldn't be eating them, especially here in the mountains of Colorado.
So, trout, not so much?
No, if it's farm raised, it's usually good because the food that they have isn't going to be full of mercury. But if it's if they're eating the bugs out of the streams, I'm afraid they just have too much mercury in them. It's just the way it is. Especially China and India, they burn gobs and gobs of coal. They don't have scrubbers on it, so that mercury has to come down in the rain. And it's one of those things, and that. And also the same with those forever chemicals. They're out there too. It's just, we've really messed up here on planet Earth, and we've gotten to a point of real toxicity in the environment. And you have to protect yourself, and hopefully we can eventually have some sort of quality political leadership who's actually going to do something about this contamination, because it doesn't matter what your view of things are.
What your political affiliation is, it affects all of us.
We all breathe the same air.
Mm-hmm.
We're eating pretty much, drinking the same water, eating the same food. It doesn't matter who you are, or what your color is, or political affiliation. Mm-hmm. We're all being affected by those toxins just the same.
Thanks, Ken.